Welcome back. We're still talking more about celebration, and this time it is Contact Solutions Limited, a Nigerian-based management solutions company trading as Consol. It's celebrating 10-year anniversary, and we have in the house the chairman, Contact Solutions Limited, Mr. Ademola Dem Elesho. What is the Dem inside the name?
Dem is my short name that I've been called since I was a baby.
Oh,
my mom started it.
Mom started it.
So Dem just taken out of Demola.
That's right.
Okay, so you're celebrating 10 years. Tell us about your organization.
Well, Consol is the leading provider of contact center services in Nigeria. We're the largest and best independent contact services provider in Nigeria, at least according to us, and in fairness, according to lots of surveys and awards. We basically run either outsourced services for small and large companies alike, handling things like their customer services or customer management or data validation. And we are able to do so efficiently and cost effectively and create employment for lots of people and deliver quality services for their customers or consumers.
Were these the things you were looking to do when you came into the industry? I mean, you sound like you were amongst the first that thought about contact centers to serve other companies.
Yeah, I mean, from a Nigerian point of view, we're a pioneer. However, contact centers have been a very strong basis for service industry growth in other parts of the world. India, for example, employs, I think, about 5 million contact center services agents, and they've grown a large part of their economy doing that. So when I came back to Nigeria in 2001, I was then working in the telecoms industry, actually for MTN. Luckily, in that time, I saw the boom of telecommunication services in Nigeria, and I predicted that Nigeria, like other nations in the world, would soon, from the availability of telephone services everywhere in the country, people would recognize that they could run certain types of services from the phone rather than physically going to places. So I set about creating contact solutions with my friends and partners, and to sort of bridge that opportunity. And luckily, by the grace of God, today we employ nearly 1,200 odd agents, which is...
And your service cuts across Nigeria?
Our service cuts across almost all verticals in Nigeria, and we have a range of customers from the government type of services, government institutions, to small private individuals, you know, up to and including people who just have a three-man office or a three-man shop.
Okay, and it's been 10 years up the ladder. And tell us about the journey so far. I'm sure you didn't start exactly where you are now.
Yeah, it's been an arduous journey, but again, we're sort of we're definitely grateful to God, and we've made great strides. At the beginning, it was very, very difficult. Most people did not understand our proposition. The idea that they could give us their customers to service or to manage was alien to most Nigerians. It was almost like, no, you can't do this. But we were able to convince one or two customers in the early stages, and then when we could demonstrate that we could run their customer services business to a certain extent better than they could and cheaper than they could, that got us over the hump. And since then, we've been growing our customer base and our customer numbers. Okay. And we're especially proud of some of our achievements.
Okay, now you said you've been creating values for customers. How do you do this?
Well, our biggest value creation challenges comes from the dedication that we have to put in before we start the business. So by contacting us or by contracting us, it obliges most businesses to look at their own business process. And in doing that, it is a thorough look, almost like a forensic look at what goes on in their business. Because if we're going to manage some part of your customer service, we've got to know it as good as you, if not better than you. And in that process, we help people create value because they often find out that there are sometimes more than one person in an organization or one department who are doing the same thing. So in that process, we're able to eradicate duplication, or else they find out that actually, in certain instances, certain things they do go nowhere. And at the end of the day, they lose customers from that inaction. So from that analysis, we help create value in the first instance. And in the second instance, our value proposition is that we offer to almost all our clients that we can do their business in terms of the customer services part at least 20% from a low price than they can do it themselves.
I was going to ask you what other services what are the exact services you offer to your clientele?
Okay, so I'll give an example of one of our biggest and best clients, and so that's the government. So, and in particular, I'll pick a particular government, the Lagos State government. So we have been running the emergency command and control center services for the government. So in the case of any form of emergency in Lagos, if you dial 767 or 112, we are effectively the first responder that takes that call. We listen to what the customer has to say, or the person in an emergency has to say, and we, at the same time as we're listening to them, we dispatch the relevant public service emergency response, such as police, fire, or ambulance.
When you say dispatch, some people wonder, are they under your command? You mean you just direct the call?
Like the information.
Yeah, it's called dispatching in it. But
just
yes,
to clarify.
Yes, okay, but we direct the call to something like, say, the police, the RRS, or the fire brigade. If the person is screaming fire, 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 we figure that there must be a fire somewhere. And whilst we're talking to them, on the one hand, we're using our computer connections and our other linkages to get hold of the fire service and send the fire service to the location where the fire is.
I don't know if this is your trade secret, but what if the person who's screaming fire, fire is not saying his or her location? Are you able to trace the location?
Yeah, so the other ability that we have is that we use the technology embedded in the telecommunications system to figure out the location of the caller so that we can at least advise the emergency response service, such as police, fire, ambulance, or whomever, to that location. Whoa. However, we also have to be careful because sometimes people may know of an emergency that is in a different location to where they are at. So, for example, if I happen to know that my grandmother is having an ailment and I need an ambulance there, I may be in Ikeja and she may be in Oshodi. Yeah, so I may be telling the emergency response that I need them to go to Oshodi and not to Ikeja.
Okay. What would you say your clientele base is like?
So we have a very wide and diverse base. So we've got everybody from public services to the financial sector and services. So we've got banks, insurance companies, we've got pharmaceutical services. So we're running, if you were to buy a packet of medicines, we're running authentication services so that people know if that is the genuine product in the pack or not, on behalf of...
So that suggests you work also with NAFDAC?
Yeah, we work in collaboration with the pharmaceuticals who are NAFDAC registered. And yeah, a range of businesses from big to small, from big banks to small companies. Lately, our fastest growing sector has been the e-commerce sector with the .com companies. So most of those .com companies are some way or other our customers, so that when you've ordered something at one of the shopping online companies, if you've got a complaint about it and you want to say a return, or if the package was incorrect, we are handling customer services for such entities.
You know, when we look at customer service, the telecoms industry in Nigeria, moving forward, the discrepancies with calls, and then sometimes customers need to clarify, I loaded this amount of credit and I didn't get that. I'm assuming that these guys are also part of the people you manage, you provide solutions for. How does that work when they have to, customers or telephone users have to complain about the fact that they loaded credit, it didn't show, or their credit has been taken out? Do you also deal with that in real time, or you just get the complaint and then pass it on to the telecom company so that they take their time to sort it out effectively?
Yes and no. So we have some customers, some telecom customers who empower us to do the whole service, and we have other customers who do not empower us.
So you render services in categories?
Correct. So we have some form of outsourcing that is just the first line, and we have some form of outsourcing that is the whole thing, from cradle to grave for the business.
Okay, now let's talk about Consol's future plan. You're 10 years now. In the next 10 years, what plans do you have?
Lots of plans, really. Our biggest one is to grow into different sectors. So the typical example I give is that most people can understand a contact center for a big, large bank. But I believe that in the near future, even someone like Lasisi, the vulcanizer, will be engaging Console or a company like Console, where you and I can imagine a situation in which you have a flat tire, you park at a roadside vulcanizer, he fixes your tire, but whilst he's fixing your tire, you filled in a little form with your contact details. And imagine the sense of customer experience, you know, when maybe 1 hour later when you get home or you get to your office and on behalf of Lasisi, someone calls you to say, we're just checking to make sure that your tire was okay, your journey was okay, and don't forget, we're here to support you always. So in the near future, we envisage a situation in which most people, from Lasisi the vulcanizer to Banker the baker to Ngozi the hairdresser, is engaging a contact center to improve the service delivery and the customer experience to their own customer base.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. It's been nice having you on Sunrise this morning. We've been having a chat with the chairman, Contact Solutions Limited, Mr. Ademola Dem Elesho. Thank you so much for being here, and happy anniversary.
Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you. And so Sunrise takes another break, and we'll be here for the home stretch. To stay with us.